Hey, Tony Gaskins here, Car Chronicles. Waiting on my wife. She's in her appointment. You know, I got the question, can a man change? Can a man change? And a lot of women ask this question, and I want you to understand that I'm speaking from the perspective of a changed man. So sometimes women will say something to me like, well, Tony, you know, I want to meet a man who has a good mindset or character like what you have. And I say to them, I wasn't always this man. You know, I am a changed man. I'm a man who had to grow, who had to change, because I was not this man. And so I want you to understand that it is possible for a man to change, but there's a few key things. Now, number one of the myths is that a man has to be ready to change, or a man has to want change. And that's kind of confusing, really, because if a man can stay who he is, that's in his comfort zone. So it is comfortable to be mediocre. And think about this in every aspect of life. So if you can wake up, hit the snooze button 3 times, scroll into the bathroom, you know, get ready, drive to work slow, get to work 15, 20 minutes late. Sometimes you've done that. That's comfortable because you didn't have to sacrifice, you didn't have to discipline yourself. When you hear that alarm, you get up, you make haste, you get ready with a sense of urgency, you drive alert, and you get in there, you get in, clock in, you get right to work. That takes some sacrifice, it takes some focus, it takes some discipline. So it's comfortable to be mediocre. And when I say mediocre, I mean as a man, if you can sleep with this woman, sleep with another woman, if you can go to work and then just kick your feet up and be served and get a meal cooked, then have some loving, and your pain and your anger, your frustration, all of those things, you can take it out on a woman and she's like your human teddy bear. That's mediocre. And for a man, that would be his comfort zone. And so he would rather stay there. Like, men don't, and understand what I'm telling you, and understand that it's not a difference between, like, some people say, women say, a real man, I'm talking about men. It's all the same, but I'm going to share the key with you in a little bit. This man, no man dreams and says, I just want to be with one woman. You know, I just want to be with one woman, and I want to just only sleep with one woman for the rest of my life. That is not something that a man says. As a woman, you may say that. Never heard a man say that. Never heard a man say that. Unless he was raised that way. Most men are not raised that way. I just heard a woman say she doesn't want her daughter dating. Her daughter is in high school. Her son is in 1st or 2nd grade and has a girlfriend. And she said, I'm totally fine with that. She said, most people, we just happy that your son like girls and totally fine with what the son doing. A lot of fathers the same way. Oh, at least he like girls. That's the first thing that come out. And I'm not saying that that's right, but I'm just reporting live. So I want you to understand that. But then with women, on the other hand, no, can't date. Nope, can't date till you're 16, can't date till you're 18, can't date till you're out of college. And so there is a double standard there. That's passed down. That's across the board. You see it with a lot of people. So as you think about this, you have to realize that most men are not raised to be and told and taught how to treat a woman and to be with one woman. And what happens is once a man sleeps with a woman, he gets that feeling. So when he gets that feeling, then his brain has that release. He becomes addicted to that feeling. That's why you see so many men talking about they're addicts. They're sex addicts. And going to therapy for it and all of this. He gets that feeling and he loves that feeling. And then the other truth about men is that men have a short attention span. It's a lot of ladies who can watch my videos for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and I will even read a comment or get an email from women saying, Tony, your video was for 30 minutes, but it sounded like you had more to say. Please do not cut off what you're trying to say and share what you need to say. I'm like, wow, so that could take an hour. And some ladies told me they watched my one webinar video, Bad Audio, Mrs. Right. It's based on my book, Mrs. Right. It's 2 hours. So women brain is different than a man. Just your raising, how you see the world, how you experience the world is different. So men, on the other hand, have a short attention span. So what I mean by this is a lot of men get antsy, just like what you see in little boys. When you go into a classroom, you'll notice typically the girls are much more well-behaved than the boys. You see the boys bouncing all around, jumping up, can't stop talking, can't stop running around. Just at my house last night, my son chasing my nephew all throughout the house, dipping under the table, sliding under the table. My goddaughter, she was there. She just kind of prancing. She not really into chasing. They all the same age, but she's more calm. And so the same thing happens when you grow up. So I want women to understand this, and I want to dispel this myth. It is no man's dream to be a one-woman man. It is no man's dream, not even what y'all call real men. It is no man's dream to consecrate himself to the place where he is with one woman and loves it and enjoys it. He did not plan that. That was not planned. He did not meet a woman and say, yes, met this woman, one woman for the rest of my life. Yes. Woo! I'm excited. One woman? Oh man, this is going to be amazing. No, he is scared to death. He is like, oh my goodness. Am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to love this one woman with all of her pain, all of her issues, all her monthly coming every month, her attitude, her mood swings, the ups, the downs, the way she want to spend money and the way she want to spend all on these birthday parties, spend all on these shoes, these purses, the way she want to give our kids the absolute world, no matter how much it costs. You know, he's going through all of this. Just going through the stereotypical thoughts, the things that he has heard, that he's been told by other men about women. That's what he's going through. On the other hand, you have women who your mama, your sister, everybody under the sun can tell you that's a no good, sorry man, leave that man alone. And you will ignore everything they say to be with that man. And you got to get hurt, and you got to find out the hard way that what your mama told you, what your best friend told you is true. It might take you 5 years, might take you 10, might take 15. I've heard some people it took them 25, 30. So what happens is, here you have a man he comes into this relationship, and this man may make some mistakes. He may cheat. He may be verbally aggressive. And then y'all may split up. And then you may come back together. And then the question is, can this man change? So sometimes the question is, can he change inside of the relationship? And he's already caused damage to you. The other question is before the relationship, you meet him, but you know he was a dog, he was a womanizer, he was a player, he was abusive, he was controlling, and you wondering, can he change? Can he change for me? And the answer is yes, he can change. And see, this is the thing. This is the part that women ask the question but don't want to hear the answer, because the answer is not what you want to hear. This man is not going to change solely for himself. He's not going to change solely for himself, because why be great? Why be excellent when mediocrity is comfortable? So mediocrity is like being in a cool house and you under a nice comforter on a soft bed. That's what mediocrity feels like. But guess what? If you stay there for too long, poverty will come upon you. Eventually, bed sores will come upon you. That's the same thing mediocrity is it feels so seducing, it feels so good, it feels so comfortable until the pain hits. So excellence will be getting out of that bed 5 a.m., taking you a cold shower, taking you a warm shower, but then ending it in 30 seconds of cold to get your blood flowing and start them calories to burning and to get everything working and flowing. And then going and drinking you a bottle of water or 3 bottles of water. Get your morning going. Read. Pray. Before your shower, you might do 50 body weight squats, 50 crunches or push-ups. See, that's what excellence is, but that's painful because it requires a sacrifice. So what I want you to understand is that the men that you're meeting, because this is the 99%, don't want to go from sleeping with multiple women and having multiple experiences and multiple engagements with different body types, because he's still stuck in his mind in mediocrity and comfort. So the way a man thinks is, men have, you ever notice when a man, look at how a man behaves when they have money. I was in Europe. I think I was in Italy. And I was on one of those boats. And maybe I was in the Amalfi Coast. And there was a hotel that Bill Gates bought for, I think, like 15 million or 50 million. It was something crazy million. It was a little hotel. I think it was a boutique hotel that he owns. And I think it was like another house that he owns. Why would he do that? Why do you need that? Barely go over there. But why do you do that? Look at the men that you know with money. Let's just say the millionaires. Let's look at the rappers. Get money and got 12 cars. Why do you need that? You can't drive all them cars. Or you drive, one every month. You drive one car a month. Or one a day. Take you 12 days to get through your car. So your car is getting driven twice a month. And you driving from home to the airport. So why you need all them cars? I just saw Perfect example, Floyd Mayweather. He just posted a video of his cars. Why do you need 4 of the same type of Rolls Royce? Guys show their watch collection. 50 watches. My point to you is this is the men you call immature, but this is the men you call grown. I believe they showed one time a pastor. It could have been Creflo Dollar. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but it was a pastor who women would say is a grown man, is a mature man, is a respectful man. This pastor didn't have no scandals, cheating on his wife, none of that, and had a 24 karat gold toilet with an automatic seat. Why you need that? What I'm trying to help y'all understand is that you're going into uncharted territory when you're asking so many questions about men, but you're not open to the answer, because you convinced that there's a difference. There is a difference between a grown boy and a grown man, but the difference is what's painful. The difference is what you don't want to hear. And let me give it to you, because I done said it before. A man changes solely and only for a woman. You will see men who, and when I say this, I'm talking about 99%. But you cannot bank your life on meeting that 1%. But guess what? The 1% man who changed his lifestyle, meaning he's not sleeping around, he's not cursing like a sailor, he's not smoking, he's not getting drunk, so he's not getting high, he's not getting drunk, he's not sleeping around, he's not defiling his spirit. Guess what? He's smart, he's well read, he takes care of his body, but guess what? He doesn't know how to treat a woman. He doesn't believe in catering to a woman. He doesn't believe in sacrificing and being uncomfortable financially for the betterment of his family, for his kids. So then at that point, up until that point, you will say, that's a grown man. That's a grown man. That's what I'm talking about, until you get in a relationship with him. And then you realize that the level of discipline that he had to have to get that body, to get that money, to get to where he is in life, he is stubborn and set in his ways. And he thinks the way he thinks, and he's not trying to hear what you talking about and how you think. So then you will say, and see, this is the thing. This is the thing. This is what I want you to understand. If you disagree with me, then show me in real life 10 examples. Not just saying 10 examples, but show me. Like, send me a real email and say, Tony, I'll fly to meet these 10 men. Meet these 10 men, sit down, talk to these 10 men who changed solely and only for themselves, and it had nothing to do with the woman in their life. You look at every great man's story, and he's going to credit his wife. Every great man, every real man, he's going to credit his wife. So what I want you to understand, and this is the painful part, is most women don't want to hear that the reason a man changes is based on her. So no, your man cannot change if you keep staying with him after he is cursing you out, abusing you verbally and or physically, cheating on you, using you, manipulating you, deceiving you, and you stay. You stay once, you stay twice, you stay 3 times. No, he cannot change. because mediocrity is too comforting. But when you change as a woman, and this is the hard part that women cannot understand. This is the way God made it. That a woman is a catalyst. A woman is a difference maker. A woman is a world changer. Men have stolen and been given power, but a woman has influence. A woman who knows who she is, what she is, and what she brings to the table. A woman who knows what she wants, what she will and won't tolerate. That woman becomes the difference in that man's life, because he has no other reason to change. And I know you say, well, he should change for himself, and he should want change for himself. Why do we shower? Because we've been given the concept of dirty. And because if you don't shower, you will start to stink. And if you stink, you will go into public and people will smell you, look nasty at you, talk bad about you, not hire you, not want to be around you. That is why you shower. The reason why you shower is because you were given knowledge of a new perspective and a new standard. But cavemen did not shower because they did not have that same knowledge and perspective. So what I'm saying is, men change when we come into the knowledge that more is required of us, that more is expected of us. No one puts standards on themselves. The standards are required by their parents or society. You don't kill the person you're angry at or the person you hate because society says that is, and the Bible says that is murder, and society says you will go to prison. But if there were no standards placed on you, you may act out if everything was legal. So what I want you to understand is that a man is wired to take anything you are willing to give him. And a man is wired in humans to do anything to you that you are willing to accept. So a man changes. Yes, he may have a desire for change. He may want change. I say all the time, I want it to change. And you know why I say that? Because people put that in my mouth. Because I've seen so many people say, well, that man has to want to change. That man has to want to change. And so technically, that is true. Technically, that is true. Because if he does not want to change, then he does not change. But here's the thing. Some women say, well, I did everything. I held him accountable. I didn't let him cheat on me. I broke up with him. I didn't let him curse me out, and he didn't change. He did not change because he did not want you. Point blank, period. That's why he didn't change. Because he did not see you as his wife. But and so that's why you can't be so bent on a man changing. Because a man who wants you, he will change immediately. When you check him, you're not going to have to deal with that a third and fourth time. At the absolute most, a second time. At the absolute most. And that is him only testing you to see if what you said the first time was real. If a man wants you, you will not have to deal with a deal-breaking behavior. When I say deal-breaking, what are your deal breakers? When you express this to him, a deal breaker should not be leaving underwear in the floor. That should not be a deal breaker. Leaving a plate on the table. That should not be a deal breaker. Not taking the trash out on time. That should not be a deal breaker. Deal breaker should be character based, meaning abuse, cheating, lying, manipulating, deceiving, controlling, and all the other words that have been termed, gaslighting, and all the other terms that you use. Character based. Your deal breaker should be character based. And so if you express that, I will not tolerate, I cannot tolerate cheating. Absolutely 100% not. And you decide to give a second chance and that man wants you, you won't have to deal with that again, with that deal breaker again. And if he does it a second time and it was a real offense, a deal breaking offense, you should leave, because that is not your husband. He does not want you. So it's not that he does not have a desire to change. It's that we change for the person we want to change for. If he does not feel you are worth changing for, he's not going to change, and he's going to drag you through the mud. So as a woman, you have to stop asking, can a man change? And ask, is he willing to change for me? Because it is a myth that men change for themselves. And if you think about this across the board, if a man say he changed solely for himself, he's seeking attention and he don't like to give credit. But when you think about anything that's done and you get to the root of it, why do you do it? It's because it's required and expected of you, whether it be by God, whether it be by society, whether it be by your job, your boss, your child, your spouse. We do what is required of us. We do what we have to do. And so if a man meets a woman that he wants, he will do what he has to do. Please understand, it's a myth to believe that a man who won't change for you is a grown boy, and that real men don't need to be held accountable, and that real men don't need a positive influence, and that real men don't need a woman to set standards and tell him what she will and will not accept. That is a myth. Because a real man is a grown boy who was held accountable. That's it. I'm the man I am today because my wife required that I become this man. Had she been okay with me yelling at her, cursing at her, being verbally abusive, physically abusive, cheating, had she been okay with those things, and if that's who I was, I would have stayed that way. I was toxic, and I was that way. 2 months into my relationship with my wife left me. She said we need to take a break. But truthfully, she left me for good. I was out of sight. And my ego was so big. I was so egotistical. But I was so lost, and I was so hurt, and I had so much pain and confusion. I just went back to my ex-girlfriend who did not have standards, who did not require me to grow, who never left me. I had left her for my wife. I was 21 years old. So the man that you see today was doing the same stuff that you would swear is a grown boy, which was a grown boy. But the other woman did not have standards. She didn't have requirements. So I had no reason to change because I was just a normal man. Every man I knew was behaving the way I behave. So what reason was there to change? And then my wife, she said, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. And then she said, well, okay, if the guy I was with, I done left him, got with this guy, he crazy, I might as well give this other guy a chance. So she ended up dealing back with her ex, which you probably have done several times, which most people do because of soul ties. But guess what? She was still true to her standards. So when she gave him another chance and he didn't grow and he didn't change, she left him again and was done with him for good. And at this time, she was single. So now she's single and I'm back with my ex who didn't have standards. And it just so happened, one of my friends hit me up. And he said, hey, man, you remember your girl? He didn't know me and my wife had broke up. He didn't know because we weren't that close. We didn't talk like that. He said, hey, man, you remember your girl? She had a roommate. And, hey, man, I want to holler at her. I'm coming in town. Because he had heard about her roommate. And, you know, somebody told her roommate pretty or whatever. One of my other homeboys who had went over there with me before and then told him about her. So I am my wife. And I said, hey, such and such coming in town. And he said he'll like to connect with your roommate. She said, okay, I'll tell her. So the day come, he never show up. So I text my wife. We had not talked for 6 months. I text her. No, I IM'd her on AOL. Remember the IM? I IM and I said, hey, he didn't show up, but can you and I still link up? And she said, okay, cool. So when I went back to her, she had been single at this point for like 4 months and, you know, dating, talking to dudes, but nobody made the cut. Me, I had went back to my situation, but it was long distance. So I was like out of it already, moving on, but it was long distance. So it's like, and that's why I speak the way I speak about long distance relationship, dealing with men. And if this man has any grown boy in him. And when I met my wife, when I got back with her 6 months later, it was just by happenstance. I have to say it's God that we reconnected, because I didn't go back chasing her. Although I knew she was my wife from our first conversation, my ego was too big. And she didn't chase me because she had too much class and self-respect for herself. She never wrote me a single time in them 6 months. That's not the case for most women. A lot of women write their heart out, tell all their feelings, tell this is how I felt, this is how you did me, and this is why I said we need a break, and this is why I broke up, explaining all. My wife didn't say a single peep to me. Even after her and her ex got back together and then didn't work out, she still didn't text me after that, write me after that and say, you know, I thought about it and I acted too fast, I was being too tough. None of that. Didn't hear from her. It just was happenstance. But by this time, I had to kind of come to my senses a little bit, and I'm like, man, this is a good woman. And I said this was my wife, but I just was being immature because I was going to see if she wanted to accept me as a grown boy. But now she done showed me that she's not with that. If I'm going to be with this woman, I got to change the way that I am. So did I want to change? No, not necessarily. Like, yeah, deep down, everybody want to be better. But you be better you get better through accountability. That's what life coaches are for. That's what therapists are for. That's what parents are for. That's what school teachers are for. That's what coaches are for. That's what trainers are for. You get better through accountability. No one is an island. No man, no woman is an island. So stop listening to the myth that you doing all that you doing on your own. No, you getting better through videos. That's the same way that man gonna get better, which is accountability. But for a man, the greatest influence on a man is the woman that's in his life. See, a video can do for a woman things that it can't do for a man, because it's two different beings. And you got to understand that. You have to understand that. Stop expecting men to be like you. Stop expecting men to think like you, to behave like you, to grow at the same rate that you grow at. It's two different people. And if you look back to childhood, you'll see it's a big difference between a little girl and a little boy. It's a man and a woman are totally different. So you can't expect us to learn and to grow at the same rate and in the same way. So now I am a very mature and a very amazing husband. I'm 100% faithful to my wife, and I treat her like a queen. I treat her like a queen. And I became this man through accountability. So listen to me. But listen to me. Before my wife, I had never been held accountable by any woman that I dealt with. I had never been held accountable. I take that back. That's a lie. I was held accountable by two women right before my wife. But guess what? I was unwilling to change for them because they were not my wife. So I was unwilling. Okay, deuces, because they were not my wife. They didn't have what I was looking for. So I was not willing to go to the next level in my life for them. And that's what you have to understand. When you're dealing with a man and he's not changing, it's because you're not the one. But when you get with a man, which no human will be perfect. No human will be perfect. He will not be 100% every single thing. He will not be 100% perfect. He may not be a cheater. He may not be abusive, but he may not be romantic. He may not know how to court. He may not know how to communicate. So it's going to be something that you have to hold him accountable. There's going to be areas that you got to hold him accountable in. But if he sees you as his wife and you hold him accountable, he will change. My wife had to tell me one time not to yell at her. I've never yelled at her since. My wife had to tell me one time not to come in the house late. Not to tell her I'll be at her place at a certain time and show up at another time. And I never did it again. And the reason why I never tried her again is because in the first 2 or 3 months of dating, she left me cold turkey and completely. She did not reach out to express, to explain anything. She left me. She left me. And had we not, just by happenstance, what I say God, had we not come back together through me reaching out to her for a friend to connect with her roommate, that's why I say it's God, because we got back together and it worked out. But I had learned from my errors. I had learned from my mistakes. So I want you to understand this, to all the women who've ever asked me this question. Yes, he can change. But if he is not changing, this is what I want you to understand. Because I may seem like, you know, some women say, well, Tony, you a rare man. You a rare man. And it's just, that's just you. That's just you. No, I was worse than any man you dealing with. Than any man you dating. I was worse than him. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. Trust me. Believe me. Believe me when I tell you now. I was worse than him. But the reason why I'm the man that I am today is because my woman held me accountable. But understand this. It didn't take 5 years. It didn't take 5 years. It didn't take 3 years. My wife had to tell me one time. It's different cases though. So one time about communication. One time about keeping your word. One time about emotional cheating, which could lead to physical cheating. We never had to go through every single situation. One time, first 2 months of marriage, she tried to leave and I tried to hold her. She had to tell me one time, don't you ever in your life put your hands on me to restrain me. She didn't say it like that. I'm saying different. But she said, you need to take anger management because you tried to hold me when I was trying to leave. So she had to leave me in dating because of me being controlling and jealous and insecure. In marriage, she left me 2 months into marriage for me going to the streets, back to the streets to hustle. And she told me, you cannot be a hustler. I told you before we got married that I refuse to be with a hustler. So if you gonna hustle, I'm out of here. And that's why she left. Guess what? She had to tell me one time. She left. She was gone for 3 days. When she came back, all the work was gone. And I was a changed man. Because I say, this woman is my wife. You tell me to change, to make, and I'm making that change because you the woman that I'm supposed to be with, that I'm supposed to have kids with, that I'm supposed to grow old with. So you tell me, if being in the streets hustling ain't okay with you, I'm out of there. If yelling when I'm angry ain't okay with you, I'm talking room tone. If going to the club and coming home 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning ain't okay with you, I'm done with the club. Hear what I'm telling you. Hear what I'm telling you. You listening to a man that was abusive, controlling, toxic, drug dealer, criminal, liar, cheater, deceiver, manipulator, everything. And my woman had standards. But guess what? She had everything together herself. She was for me. You can say, well, I got everything together, Tony, and my ex didn't change for me. It's because you're not for him. You not his wife. You somebody else's wife, and he's somebody else's husband. So it ain't about that something wrong with you. It's that's not your man. Hey, this Tony, guys. Talking too much, talk too long. But hey, my videos, if you got this far, be blessed in the comments. But one thing I want y'all to understand, I'm up in the ante. I was trying to just do 10-minute videos. I want to do 10-minute video. I went to 15. I went to 20. A lady told me these videos too long. You need to just make them 15 minutes. But I saw 10, 15 other people tell me, Tony, make the videos longer. Talk as long as you need to talk. I'm listening on my drive. I'm listening while I'm cleaning up. Just talk. Get the point out. I realized I'm going to have to talk longer because I got a target on me. And it's Satan done sent some of his minions to come, and they listening to half of the video, not listening to the whole video where I clarify and finish the point. And they going in the comment section trying to sow discord. But they didn't even hear that I rounded out and I addressed the point that they talking about. Or they'll take one little word, and if I leave one word out, they'll take that, find a hole, and try to turn it into, oh, you condoning men beating women. What? You condoning women carrying men. What? It's like, do you know me? Have you watched my videos? If anything, men mad at me, but feeling like I give too much credit to women. Feeling like I'm making too many concessions for women. But they're taking twist that. So I say, look, I'm gonna express till I can't express no more, till my throat is hurting like it is now. And I'm still gonna have holes in it because I'm shooting these in one take. And I refuse to be the person that's got to be sitting down, mapping out a whole video, writing out all this stuff, shooting it 10 times. I can't do all that. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. I'm sitting outside my wife's doctor's appointment. She in there in the weight room waiting, you know, her turn, getting her checkup, whatever. And so I had some time today. That's why the video is clipped together, because I got to leave my phone on off of do not disturb, so that when she write me and she done, I know. And so that's why I got it available, just in case she need me to come inside to sign something or do anything. So I'm sitting here and I got the time. But hey, understand this Tony Gaskin. I'm gonna be here. God bless you.